Are you snapping at your kids over nothing? Or maybe sometimes you feel like you just have this sudden anxiety or frustration or rage? If so, and you're in perimenopause, you are not losing it because here's what's actually happening. Your nervous system is reacting to a lot of blood sugar chaos, hidden sugar, missing fiber, and underfueling that are usually triggering a response that feels like rage. And there are several daily habits in our lives that are actually making it worse. And we're going to figure out which one is yours so that you know what to fix first. And I don't want you to skip habit number 3 because it's the most common one and it was my problem too. So I want you to stick around till the end because I am going to show you exactly what type you are and give you a simple swap guide so you don't have to figure this out alone. I also want you to know food is not the only factor, but it is one of the fastest levers that you can pull to feel better. I want to start with one that feels a little bit sneaky, and it is hidden sugar. Look, I am not talking about the obvious stuff, the cookies, the candy, the cake. We all know that's sugar. I'm talking about healthy foods, and I say healthy foods with quotes because there are some that are secretly spiking your blood sugar and setting you up to crash in a couple hours. I'm talking flavored yogurts and the protein bar that contains 18 grams of sugar. Trust me, there's one out there. I know my client told me. So look, in perimenopause, it's way easier to become more insulin resistant. Our bodies can't handle sugar the way that they used to. And so what happens when you eat that healthy snack is your blood sugar shoots up, okay? It gives you that quick burst of energy that makes you feel like you're on top of the world. And then it also crashes and you feel like garbage. And that crash triggers cortisol and adrenaline. So suddenly you feel like super anxious and you're jittery and you're irritable. And look, we've all been that way. And it might be that maybe you feel great after a snack and then you crash hard an hour later, or maybe you're like hangry. I mean, we all know the feeling, right? You remember that Snickers bar commercial where you could see them being hangry and they gave them a Snickers and they magically were better? I don't want you to eat a Snickers, but you may get like jittery or anxious or like ravenous. And those things are spiking that blood sugar. And your healthy snacks are sweet, even if they're marketed as protein packed. I will do another video soon on all the protein mistakes that women are making because protein is everywhere right now. And yes, we all need protein. I will be on that train. But if you are looking only at the marketing, you're missing a lot of the things, and that includes hidden sugars. So I want you to read labels, okay? I want you to flip over a package, and I want you to look to see if sugar is in the top 3 ingredients. And if it has more than 5 to 8 grams of added sugar, treat it like a dessert. I also want to caution you, there are over 60 names of sugar. So it might not feel very intuitive at first to know what the sugar is, but I will include a Healthy Swaps Made Easy guide, and that will help you start to decipher some of this stuff. The link will be below. Think about some swaps that you can make, and those include things like plain Greek yogurt and berries instead of flavored yogurt, because some flavored yogurts can pack up to 12 to 18 grams of added sugar in the yogurt, and that's a lot of sugar. Okay, especially if you're starting your day off with them. Instead of having juice for breakfast, maybe you do whole fruit instead. Plus, the whole fruit gives you the fiber, which we'll talk about later. Another option for a simple swap is nuts and cheese instead of a granola bar. Granola bars have a ton of sugar in them. And so you really need to understand where that sugar is coming from, and nuts and cheese are definitely a better option unless you're making the granola yourself, because maple syrup and honey, like you can definitely do that too. So I've got a whole guide of these healthy swaps. It's called Healthy Swaps Made Easy. I mentioned it. I'm going to link it below, but it's going to help you start to figure out what swaps that you can use. And I want you to drop in the comments hidden if you're starting to understand and maybe a light bulb moment went off that like, oh my gosh, maybe some of these healthy things that I am eating have a lot of sugar in them. Okay, so we're going to get you started to read labels. I know it's not fun, but it's got to be done because marketing is so good right now. But even if you cut out hidden sugar, you may still feel like you're on edge. And habit number 2 is one that a lot of us don't even know we're missing because it's just starting to be talked about. So habit number 2 is missing fiber and not getting enough. What I want you to know and something to take away is that 95% of your serotonin, which is like your calm and happy hormone, is produced in your gut. Okay. So if your gut's not happy, then your mood obviously is not going to be happy either. Fiber feeds your good gut bacteria. So without fiber, your inflammation is going up. And when your inflammation goes up, your ability to handle stress actually goes down. So most of these diets out there, and like for busy moms, are heavy on convenience foods, right? So either running through the drive-through or grabbing some packaged snacks, and they're light on actual plants. And so that's why in my Easy Plate framework, we talk about the A, which is add color, which gives you fiber. Okay. And when you don't have fiber, your digestion is slowing down. And that's when you feel bloated and your gut is like sending this white flag, right, to your brain, like, I surrender, like, I'm done. And so if you're doing this and like your most meals are mostly like a beige color, so you're having a lot of pastas and bread and crackers and cheese, like that's a big sign that likely you're not getting enough fiber. Maybe you're anxious when nothing's actually wrong. You're bloated and you feel uncomfortable a lot. And so, what you really want to start to focus on is the rule of one. Okay. Add one high fiber food to every meal. And this is going to look different for a lot of people. And what I don't want you to do is like just add a bunch of fiber because that's going to make you very gassy. And then you're gonna be like, I don't want to eat this because it's giving me too much fiber. But you can start to add chia seeds into a smoothie, or my favorite, make overnight oats with chia seeds or chia seed pudding. Those are my two favorites. And maybe you do half of an avocado with your eggs. Well, you're getting a double whammy there because you're getting fiber and healthy fats and protein with your eggs. Maybe you do some almonds as your snack and you add some beans into your salad. I've recently started eating these Brahmi lupini beans, and my gosh, they are so good. You don't really need like a massive, like giant salad. You just want to make sure that you're getting some fiber. And another great source are raspberries and blackberries, strawberries, the berries. And so good. I eat lots of raspberries. Okay. So now you are looking at your hidden sugar and you're starting to add fiber. And those two things are huge. And you're going to notice a massive difference, but you're still exploding at 5 p.m. And it's likely because of habit number 3. And this one was me. So the third habit is not eating enough early in the morning. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I used to be the creamer with a splash of coffee kind of girl. And so what's happening is your adrenaline is just out of control, right? So right now it's 5:30. I want you to picture this, right? My kids are asking me what's for dinner and I want to scream. Not because they're being difficult, right? But because the question itself just feels like it's so much. I want you to drop an emoji, drop like dinner if you've ever had that, where like just you get to that time and it's just feeling awful. For the longest time, that was me. And I couldn't figure out why I was so irritable at the end of every day. And it turns out I was not eating enough real food early in the day. And when I say real food, I mean things that come from the ground or have a mother. So when you start your day without protein and healthy fats and fiber, then you start running on stress hormones from the moment that you wake up, especially if you're having coffee before you're eating. So by 4 or 5, you've got nothing left in your tank. And what's actually happening is that your body just thinks it's starving, okay? And it dumps adrenaline into your system to get energy from somewhere. And that adrenaline dump, it feels like rage. So this might be you if your breakfast is coffee and maybe some carbs, or you push through hunger because you're busy and maybe you just don't eat breakfast or lunch and you just kind of like survive throughout the day. And then maybe it might be you if your final day and then all of a sudden you lose it at dinner. And the biggest one is the question, what's for dinner, makes you just want to lose it. It's like nails on a chalkboard because I know that's what it's like for me, or what it used to feel like. Although that question still really gets me sometimes because my kids ask me before they go to school. All right. So a lot of times now I get asked, okay, so what do I do? What do I need to do to make sure that I am feeling better? And look, you cannot expect to stay calm if you're body and your brain thinks that it's starving. And what you need to do, and if you've watched my other videos, you probably heard me say this, but you definitely want to work on getting 20 to 30 grams of protein within the first 2 hours of waking up. And you can't skip lunch. Okay. Look, I've given you ideas before, but in my Healthy Swaps Made Easy, you'll have some ideas of some things that you can take and can eat to make you feel better. All right. And look, if you want to stop losing it at 5 o'clock, you need to eat actual breakfast in the morning. All right. So now you have seen all three habits. Most of us are doing a couple of them. So I want to talk about which one you might be and what you can do to actually feel better. Okay. So let's talk about where you're at so that you might know exactly where to start. All right. So you could be a couple of different types. Maybe you're type A, which is the sugar crasher. So you eat healthy snacks, but they're packaged. So you often feel like irritable and jittery a couple hours later. So if this is you, you want to be your first thing that you do is cut the hidden sugar and make sure that you're pairing your things with protein and healthy fats. Okay. Or maybe you're type B, which is you're skipping fiber. Okay. So maybe your meals are mostly beige and you don't get a lot of color and you've got that low level of anxiety all day, right? It's just kind of there. So your first move is going to be adding at least one fiber source to every meal. Okay. And it doesn't mean that you have to jump all of a sudden to like a ton of fiber, but it does mean that you need to start making some small gains. Or type C is maybe you're just running on empty and you skip breakfast and then you're just done at 5 o'clock or, around that time. So your first move is tomorrow morning before you have your caffeine, you are going to have protein. So I want you to comment below. Do you crash a lot? Are you skipping your fiber? Or are you just running on an empty tank all the time? I want you to try this 3-day experiment. I want you to start looking for hidden sugars in your food. I want you to add one fiber source to your one meal today. And I want you to make sure that you're getting 20 to 30 grams of protein before coffee tomorrow, or caffeine if you don't like coffee. Okay. So 3 days, I want you to start to track it because you don't actually know how you feel unless you're tracking things. Resisted that for a very long time. And then right now, I want you to go download Healthy Swaps Made Easy because it's going to help you start really giving you some of the substitutions for the things that you buy right now and the things that you can change out to make life a lot easier. So when I started doing and making a lot of these changes, I noticed so many things about my perimenopausal anxiety, but it also translated into me sleeping better and losing some of that perimenopausal weight. I used to think I was just becoming a frustrated mom all the time and that this was just how it was going to be because I was in perimenopause. But once I really started taking a deeper dive and understanding what was happening with my blood sugar, things changed. And my body was just reacting to how I was fueling it and what the food I was giving it every day. So in Healthy Swaps Made Easy, it's going to give you the healthy swaps to make this so much easier. And you don't have to change your entire diet overnight, but you do want to know what things to switch out first. So look, if you are waking up like I was, then maybe you also need to watch this video next to see what habits might be destroying your sleep every night.